I wanted to ask about setting levels on the effects blocks. Yeah, for sure. We can talk about that. Let me fix this chord chart real quick. Okay, so in my experience, when you're in serial here, you know, it's in one line. Through just means your basic, when you bypass the block, the signal passes through it as if it wasn't there. So, no, you don't hear. Use an expression pedal to control the level of the delay and the verb. Yeah, for sure. What parameter do you control? Do you control the input gain or do you control level? That's very important. So yeah, let me know which of these or whatever control you use. Is it level? Is it input gain? Or is it something else? Oh, the mix. Okay, that's why. So yeah, mix is probably not where you want to do that. With mix, so I don't understand, there's like what they call the delay mix law. I don't have it completely down, like there's differences, but basically, in general, from 0 to 50, you have more dry signal than effect. So right now we're going to hear a lot of it, right? It's actually louder than my dry signal. So that's the part I don't personally understand, but yeah, so past 50, you're mixing more effect in and less dry. So once you go past 50, all we're going to hear is delay and very little dry. So you can hear when I have the block off, so the bypass mode is through, and it's this volume, right? I'll put this, oh, it's going to disappear. Anyway, right, it's this volume. When I turn it on, try to listen for my regular guitar before the delay. It's going to be much quieter. Like you could hear it drop, right? So you really, most of the time, don't want this mix past 50, especially for delays. You know, if we go all the way to 100%, you're only going to hear the delay, right? So I think I see what's going on here. And then I don't remember which one, but when you have one of these on, let's just figure it out real quick. Let's see. Yeah, when you have mute effects or mute in, you know, we don't have any volume now. So this is what's happening. You probably have mute effects in selected, and then when you have the mix past 50%, there's no dry signal. We can mix it back in. So that's just how that works, because once you're past 50, this is hard to explain, but once you're past 50, you're turning down your regular guitar sound with mute effects in and some others. So generally you don't want to control your delay level here. Probably an easy way to solve this real quick is let's set it to like a normal thing so we can hear it. Right, so we'll go to 28. What you want to do is control this input gain with your expression pedal, and that's why this parameter is here for the delay block. Messing with the mix is really interesting, and it'll lead to the problems you're having. So you'll see if I turn input gain all the way down, my regular guitar is coming through, but there's no delay. And if I put this on a pedal, I will in a sec, but if I turn this up, I'll start to get delay. So for controlling that, you probably want to use this input gain. I'm going to put it, what do I have? Pedal 1. I'm going to put it on pedal 1 here, FC pedal 1. Okay. So you can see it going. So that's my pedal down there. Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I got you. I got you. So, but yeah, you probably don't want to do mix. So set it, put your input gain at 100%, which is normal, and then set your mix to like the loudest you would want it, most likely, like the loudest mix you would want. Now with my pedal, I'm going to continue, I'm going to like hit so you can hear the delay, right? You can see me playing, right? And then I'm going to move the pedal around, which will change the input gain, and it's input into the delay. So if I turn it all the way down, my guitar doesn't change, and I can bypass the block. Nothing changes volume-wise, but I can use the pedal now on input gain and put how much delay I want at any given time. So yeah, that's a unique one in the delay block. I don't even think it's in the reverb. I could be wrong. I don't use that too much. Oh, there is. Okay, so same thing on the reverb. So yeah, delay and reverb have this input gain parameter. And that's the best way to like real time adjust how much delay you're getting. We can do it for the reverb too. So you set your mix. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, there's so many like different controls. It's hard to know like specifically which one is which, right? Or what it does. Let's do it with the reverb here. So let me get a reverb. Let's do a longer one. What did I do earlier? Medium plate. Okay, cool. So now I can put this on the same pedal. You know, just choose whatever pedal you have here. All the way down, no reverb. All the way up, I get reverb. And what's cool is that this will let the trails go. Here, I'll use a longer one. So this is a longer reverb, right? And if I play, what I can do is I can play something and then let it ring out, but then put the pedal down. You'll see the input gain drop. And it's not like I'm muting the tails. I think with mix, that's what happens. If you controlled the mix, the delay and the reverb would disappear, but not with this one. So now I put it down. So my new notes aren't getting more reverb, but you can hear the previous reverb still ring out, and then I just bring it in. No reverb on the new notes, but the old reverb is still going, if you want that. But yeah, input gain in the delay and reverb block, I'm pretty sure those are the only two places it appears. That's what that's for. Controlling it basically real time. That's the best place to do that. So yeah, set your mix to like the loudest you would want when this is all the way up, the most reverb you'd want or the most delay, and then control input gain instead. It'll be much easier. So yeah, same thing with the delay here. Oh, and that cut off because my bypass mode is through, right? If I set that, it'll continue to ring out. But yeah, with this, should be the same thing. Yeah, I put the input gain down and the delay is still ringing out. New notes don't get it until I mix it in. Makes sense? That's what that one's for. So yeah, and then the different bypass modes. So that should work for both serial and parallel. Let's let me mute in case I make weird noises, but let's put this in parallel. I went through this with someone else on the stream, and it's kind of complicated. So the takeaway is, if you're in serial, you want mute effects in, and if you're in parallel, first of all, you definitely want mix to be 100%. If you were changing the mix parameter while it was parallel, that's going to cause major level issues. I'm sure it did, because you're adding more dry in or taking it away. So you want the mix to be 100% for sure. That's like always, because you don't want more original signal. You have a whole row of it. And then you use your input gain again to mix it in. If I turn my guitar on. Let's see. One sec, I did something. Oh, I muted. Yeah, I muted my mixer. Hold on. So same thing. I'm in parallel now, but I put, sorry, wrong block. We're looking at mix. You want definitely to be 100% on all parallel anythings. Yeah, no problem. Parallel, you definitely want the mix at 100%, because we have our full dry signal here. If you split off and don't have your mix at 100%, you're adding more dry signal, so it'll get louder. And then you're like turning up the level or turning this in. Yeah, you want 100%, short answer. And then I read usually you want mute in versus mute effects in. I kind of always kept it on mute effects in and it was fine. But I think the suggested thing is mute in for parallel. So mute in for parallel, I guess, to be proper, but I really haven't experienced any issues with mute effects in. You don't want through, that's for darn sure. You don't want through. So effects in for serial and mute in for parallel. But yeah, this is the best way to run it. Keep the mix where it is. In this case, 100% for parallel. And then use the input gain to control. Reverb. Let's look at some more. So some of the astrology ones, I don't have a use for. I think they have a lot of like high end in it. Yeah, where is that? Love running the delays into the filter. Yeah, there's so many cool things. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to set that up. I'll probably make loud noises. But yeah, routing things into things. Here, I'll show you if you haven't seen it. My main preset with a few interesting things. Where is it? This one. So what I do is similar. So what's cool, we were talking about parallel earlier. What's cool about parallel is that you can run blocks after it because your mix is 100% in parallel. So that's the first important part. But check this out. So I have this Plex. Let me get sound real quick. Hold on. Hey, what's up? I actually stopped and then I took a break, did some other stuff, and then do an evening stream. So it's almost 7 p.m. where I am. I did one at like 11 a.m. my time earlier for a couple hours, and I took a break, did some stuff, but I just started a like half an hour, 47 minutes ago. So yeah. But parallel. So check this out. I have a Plex delay block here that's like a shimmer verb. And again, the key point is that your input gain, your mix has to be 100%. Oh, I guess this has it too. But your mix has to be 100%. So what I can do is put a block after this effect and it'll only change the effect. So check this out. Here's regular sound. Here it is with the Plex delay on. Now that sound by itself, it's hard to use in an acoustic guitar setting, which is where I mostly play these days. But what I do is I turn on this tremolo and it's only going to affect that whoosh, the shimmer sound, right? So check this out. Right? Again, that's because this is 100% mix. That's the important part. And I can affect just that effect, if that makes sense. That's some crazy English effect and affect. But yeah, so you can do... And further, what I do, this guitar has piezo in it, so I have an acoustic sound. I will use the expression pedal for my electric guitar, and I can mix them. So I can blend it, I guess you could say. So that's that one. I do it again down here, this multi-delay. It's kind of like a reverb. It's the diffuser, which just like makes it reverberate, but it uses way less CPU on the other, like the FM3. So that's, yeah, exactly. It's so cool that you can do this sort of stuff, right? So that's the diffused sound, and then I put a filter on it, just that. So it's not affecting the regular guitar. I got the idea a long time ago. Let me mute. I'm going to change this around real quick. I got the idea a long time ago by listening to a Meshuggah song, and I don't know that they did this, but what it sounded to me is like their lead delay was going through a tremolo, just the delay. I'm sure they were just playing crazy stuff. Let me see. Make sure I don't have weird sounds going on. Let's see. Yeah, it was something like that. Let me make this a little, stick around for a little longer. But my regular guitar doesn't have a tremolo on it. But just the, I'm going to chop that up even more. Yeah, and I can go all the way in. So square, oh, no wonder it's not working because I'm on the wrong block. Hold on. Yeah, square LFO for the trem, and if you really want to chop it up, put the depth all the way up. So on like a lead tone, it's really crazy. Right? Like that's, I remember kicking that on for the first time. So I was playing like a regular lead, right? With like the delay. And then like mid solo, I kicked that on and like held a note. And I was in stereo and everything, and everyone's like, whoa, what is that? So I was like, okay, I'll use this one sparingly. See, you're one of those crazy effect guys, aren't you? You have more ideas than I do for this stuff. That's crazy. In fact, I am going to try that one because I haven't tried a ring mod after a delay yet. I've tried most everything else, chorus and flanger. But let me try that. I want to hear what that sounds like. Because on its own, I don't use ring mod often. I'll sometimes make like weird sounds with it, but let me see. What do we got? Volume. Okay, let's make these a little longer again so we can hear it. Okay, here we go. Let me turn the level of the delay up and turn this music down because it's making weird sounds. So I want to know which weird sounds I'm hearing. I'll try that, but I already like that. I already like that. Excuse me, sir, your delay block is broken. Let me move it manually and see what happens. Okay, I see what's going on. So my LFO in this preset is moving pretty slow. Let's see what happens. Oh, there you go. Ooh, that's cool. I want to limit it to this lower area. Let's just see what happens. So that's a little too low. Let me try this. And let me take the damping off. Yeah. Wow, you can hear all that craziness, right? Wow, that's crazy. Let's see. Okay, frequency multiplier. Let me do it manually first so I have an idea of what's happening, because I don't want to make loud noises for stream, just in case. Wow. Even that's really cool. Having it low down there, that's kind of neat. It's almost like a tremolo, and then it like ramps up way faster. Wow, that's cool. Okay, let's try it. Let's see. I'll turn it up a little bit faster. Wow, that is crazy. Let me put my long reverb on with this and see what we get. There's just like this whirring in the background. I'm gonna turn that up a little bit. That's so funny. Oh, yeah, it's in the controllers. Controllers, LFO, and then you have your rate here for LFO 1. There's 2, and then you have some other controls here. You can set it to tempo. You can set it to run. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I don't handle like the sales of that. It's probably some international law or product law. So unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that. But yeah, hard to say. I'm so sorry. Can you tell what a block's input select does with the different options? Yeah, sure. So, let me see. So that was fun. I'm going to reset this. I'll remember for sure to set that up again, but I'm going to revert this back to a normal sound. But that was really cool. Thank you so much for the suggestion of the ring mod after the delay. I didn't even think of that one. Okay, so only a few blocks have it. I don't know every single one, but the cab block is the first one that comes to mind because I actually messed it up earlier today. And let's see, how can we do this? Let me mute, and I'm going to put a delay here. Okay, and then let me do a dual delay, so it's very specific. We'll do a 700 and a 500, and we're going to pan them. And let me just see what this sounds like real quick. Turn off that one. Okay, one sec. Yeah, G66, I don't know. I'm in America, I guess you could say. So I don't know where G66 service is. So they would probably be the best people to talk to, but I don't know, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn the mix all the way up. I'm going to play the guitar. You're not going to hear it, but you should hear... I'll turn the level up too. You should hear it in both the left and the right. And then... Why is that one louder? Let me turn this down a little bit. Okay. Right? So if you're listening in stereo, you should hear... You're going to see me hit the guitar, but you're not going to hear anything. And then you're going to hear right, left. Right? Because it's in stereo. The reason we can hear this is we're in front of a cab block that is set to accept a stereo input. So the delay is sending something out of the left, fully left, and something's different, fully right. And the cab block, I've set it to listen to both left and right on the input. So the delay is sending left and right. The cab block is listening both left and right for the input because I'm set to stereo. Let's just see what happens if we only set it to left. It goes into the middle. You know, we don't have left and right anymore. And we also only have one delay. Remember before we had 2 repeats, right? But now we only have 1. Because it's only listening to the left side of this little cable. So all these cables are stereo, these little connectors they call it. It has left and right properties, if you will. Like it hears both, but depending on the blocks that have this option, you can tell it to only listen to one thing or another. So this cab block is only listening to the left output of this delay block. Now let's hear the right one. This is my faster delay. So it comes in faster, but we still only hear 1. Now what if we put the sum of left and right? We hear both delays, but they're still in the middle because this is a mono mode. Left and right is in mono. And so the cab block is going to make sure everything's down the center. We go back to stereo and we should hear, you know, right, left in this case. So that's why you would do that. For the cab block, typically it's going to be mono because you have amp and cab, and usually that's, you know, 1 amp is mono. So the default is like left only. It only receives it. Yeah, or really any block. The amp block, all blocks are sending both left and right, even if it's the same. So like the amp block in particular is a mono block, but it has to send signal to both left and right of just its output, right? Just this little area. We're not talking about out 1. We're talking about this block. Like if we could stop here and like zoom in or something. But the amp is sending to left and right because for my delay, which is listening, the input is left and right, it needs signal on both sides, right? So yes, what you said is correct. But we can choose to only listen to the left side. A more practical way to do this or to see this is, let me get rid of this and put this back. Now there's a gap here. Usually they're next to each other, but one way most people use this is if you have like this dual amp, dual cab setup. So you can set your amp block to only go, this one only goes to the left, and this only listens to the left side. And then this amp block would only go to the right, and you'd set another cab block to only listen to the right side. I don't know why they would do that, but that's where I've seen it most, you know, for the cab block specifically. But yeah, it's I can't think of any other examples right on the spot, but that's what it does. Because it's the input mode, excuse me, all you have to do is like put your mind, like think that you're just that one block. I'm just the cab block right now. I'm not thinking about output 1. I'm not thinking about input 1. I'm not thinking about my guitar. I'm just the cab block. And do I want to listen to left and right from the previous block? Because it's input, right? Signal goes from left to right. And so input of this would be the output of this. Like it goes input, output, right? So yes, that's what it does. You can make it so that it only receives the left side if you need it to for some reason. So for most presets, like a factory preset or something, let's see, are these all set to stereo? I think they are. Yeah, so in this case, it doesn't matter because there is only one, you know, the amp block before it. This can be stereo, this can be left and right. It doesn't really matter. I guess technically left would make sense, but again, the amp is sending both left and right. So in most cases, this doesn't really matter on the cab block. I don't even know another block that has it. Drive blocks have this selection here, left and right, or left or right. Again, you can have it, a drive is mono, and if I had a stereo effect before it, it would change it to mono. So do I want to sum the previous block and maybe phase cancel, or do I want to take just the left so there isn't any phase cancellation and things like that? So That's the answer to why. I can't think right now of a good example of when you would use it. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's what it does. So in my case, with my pitch, this is what I was setting this up earlier and I made a mistake. Right now I'm in stereo because this pitch block is between the amp and cab, and it does this detune thing. And I have it panned hard left and right, and we're at a mix of 50, so I hear dry signal and then the left and right thing. Right? What I did earlier, for some reason, I don't even remember what I did, but I had it set to left or something. That sounds different. It's dead center. And it's kind of phasey. It's a different sound because now we're only listening to the left side. So I have just dry and my left side of this pitch block, which is doing detune down. If I go to the right, this is the right side, but it's mono now, so it's like in the center. And if I sum them, this might not sound good at all. Yeah, you don't even... I'm getting both sides now of the pitch block, you know, but it's just all mished and mashed up in the center. If I go back to stereo, I get the desired effect, which is that wide sound. So I think a lot of times, if for someone who doesn't understand what a control does, it might just seem like it's irritating because I have to know I have to be able to set it correctly or else it won't sound right. But once you know what it does, or like the purpose of potentially using it or setting it a certain way, then it's just another control, right? It's like the drive control in an amp block. LNRs, both left and right, are still mono. Yes, for sure. So stereo is the only one that is actually stereo, left and right separately. You know, left going left, right going right. Summing, that puts it into one thing, so one thing is mono. Left is one thing, and one thing is mono. Right, same thing, it's just one. Yeah, no problem. Right is one thing, and one thing is mono. Stereo typically is the only thing that's two things at the same time. You know, when you're summing it up, it's two things, but they're squished together into one, and one thing is mono, right? So one thing, mono. Two things, stereo. Sequencer. I don't use it too much. I've dabbled with it, but we can do this. Let's see. So the pitch block has an arpeggiator, and that's what I was gonna do, but let's just use the sequencer instead to do that. So what am I trying to do here? Dual diatonic. We'll do chromatic. Okay, so let me set this up real quick. I'm just gonna make this simple. So right now I set up a pitch block to do an octave, right? Yeah, it pretty much has all the Pink Floyd effects in it. It has a lot of stuff, so it's a nice piece of gear. But yeah, G66 would be the one to talk to, hopefully, to obtain it. So, you know, I have a octave up on this, right? And I can change it manually. It doesn't have, like, it's not ready to play Pink Floyd, if that's what you mean. There are some examples of it. Yeah, the FM9, same thing. It doesn't have like immediate Pink Floyd in it. You may have to adjust and change it to what you want. But there are some starting points, what they call factory presets here. That here's one called Mr. Floyd, and has some of the sound of it, but you might want something different. So just like a real guitar pedal, a real amp, you have to set it how you want it. So yeah, there you do have to adjust it a little bit. So back to this pitch, we have a octave up, right? So I'm gonna go to this pitch shift and I'm gonna use the sequencer. And we're gonna go to our controllers and go to our sequencer. And here, same thing, it's based on like percentages. So I'm just gonna make it random. And so how many stages is just like a drum step sequencer? I'm gonna have 8 stages here. And I'm just gonna set it randomly for now. And I have the rate of how fast it'll run. I'm going to slow it down for now. And you have to make it run in order for it to work. So it's going slowly now, just so we can start it. Let me turn off this weird sound but if we look at this, you can see it jumping around. I have it like 1 change per second right now. Okay, and we can watch the knob jump around too. So it's not random, it's going to the 8 places I told it to go. And because this shift is like a single number, an integer, it's kind of rounding up and down. But anyway, if we go back to the sequencer, yes, the controller tab is probably your very best friend based on what you do. But now I'm going to speed it up. Now, again, in the pitch block, there is an arpeggiator that kind of does this automatically without that step. But I'm going to turn the mix all the way up so we don't hear the original guitar. So while that's going, I'm going to keep hitting the string, but I can adjust these. I want to start on the low note. That's throwing me off. And so we have up to 32 steps that we can make it run through here. And it's not necessarily a pitch effect. I think you get this, but I'll just explain it if someone's not following along. I'm just happen to be controlling something that changes pitch. I use that one because it's the easiest to hear. But it can affect anything. So you can have it sequence like the synth block. You can have it sequence the mix of delay or I don't know, whatever, right? So that's all it's doing. It's just moving this knob to specific things, those sliders, right? And it can be anything. So just make sure when you're using it, make sure you have the run, and you can set this to a button or a controller or something. Getting the boss slicer. Yeah, for sure. Let's try that. I don't know the best way to use a filter block for that, but let's just try this thing. Let's set it to this and see what happens. Right? That's kind of it, right? Wow, that low note sounds like a kick drum or something. So now the pitch isn't moving because I turned that off. Now it's just this filter sweep. But you can see that the frequencies are jumping around and it's to a tempo, right? Yeah. So for this, I happen to have this set up already. It was just a band pass. So it's just peaking this area here. And then I adjust the Q for, how thick it is. So we go back into the sequencer. I can speed this up now. I might have to use this on my next gig. Damping time, I think it's kind of like a portamento. Yeah, you can hear it getting sloshier. We can turn that back down. I don't know what this does. Oh, this is like... Oh, gotcha. Let me mix my acoustic in here. So I usually do this. I have the electric doing like a crazy thing. And my acoustic is like a guitar that you can hear. Yeah, that was Sweet Child. Just like the original. So it's the low. I happened to make the sequencer go low, and when it hit this low area, it kind of sounds like a kick or like, you know, a bass hit. So if you're going to perform with something like that, that's when it's going to be like hard to get it right on the dot, you know. So that's where you want this run control to be on a switch so you can time like hitting it. Yeah, EQ block should be pretty much the same. I'm not going to do that because frequencies can spike and be loud for the stream, but same concept. So, but just remember, you want to hit this run thing, and you can put it on like a control switch or something. So you want to like work out timing that on and off. I haven't gone that far into this. You know, this. Pause will put it like where it was, and then when you run again, it should start from there. Yeah. And stop will like reset it to the beginning, and then when you run it again. But, you know, we can do like 12 stages. I don't want to make this take too long on one thing, but it's cool. But we can do 12 stages now. Or we can be like, we can have some odd times with it. We can go 7. So now we're in 7, if you want to use those as 8th notes or whatever. But yeah, really cool stuff there. So again, filter block to band pass type, and then put frequency on that sequencer and go from there. Yeah, I'm scared now. Maybe I shouldn't have showed you that. But yeah, the controller page, it's on the front panel too. It's a little harder to use just because there's so many things to do, you know, in the control page, of course. So it's definitely easier from edit like we did. But yeah, all your stuff is here, man. You have to be on this page for sure. Real quick, this modifiers page shows you what is already assigned. Now, there are 32 modifiers, but depending on CPU and like just, you know, RAM really is like the best way I can describe it, like how much it can handle at a time. Even though you have 32, you might be doing some pretty heavy things with just 10, and it might not, you know, it's not unlimited. So just a heads up there if you start getting very crazy. But yeah, this modifiers page shows like what is already assigned. And if you click on it, it brings that up real quick. So you can adjust things quickly from there rather than jumping into the block. But yeah, this is like your tempo page, and this is your LFO. I don't know what ADSRs do. I just don't get it. It's for guitar application. So I've never used that. The sequencer we just looked at. This is where your envelope is for like auto wah stuff, and you can change your thresholds and things like that. This is where your scene controllers are for turning things on and off. I have a scene controller on the amp boost, and when I go to scene 4, it turns on. That's the only thing I use there. But yeah, have fun on the controllers page. That's like That's a major area to be missing it for your crazy effect ideas. I can't imagine how far you've gotten without that, with all your ideas already. And then from here, like I said, it's probably going to get really scary. So just turn your volume knob down before you do something crazy. That's funny. That's really funny. And then control switch stuff is in here too. But yeah, have fun with that. Like you were saying earlier, there's just a lot of stuff you can do. Synth terms. Yeah. I like it conceptually. I know what ADSR does, but like I can't make it do what I want on this. I'm not a big effects guy to begin with. I play with it, so I know kind of what it does, but I just haven't been too successful with it. Especially because guitar, like it's using the guitar's input right, so guitar drops off so quickly. So I just haven't tweaked the right thing to kind of make it work. It might be better, like you said, with like another piece of gear, like a synth that can sustain a note into the axe and like give it a lot more signal to work with. But yeah, you're gonna have some fun for sure. That's funny. That's really funny. It's like give a guy, tell someone how to, I know you've been sitting in this car and appreciating the air conditioning and windows going up and down, but have you tried the gas pedal?